Sometimes when you're trying to become the best at something, your best just isn't good enough. So what do you do when your best isn't good enough, and how can you overcome that to win games, to win tournaments, etc.? So I'm dealing with this problem at the moment where my best really isn't good enough. This is a tournament, an interstate, a national tournament that I'm going to next week. And if we look at the melee singles, we can see that there are 83 entrants for this tournament. Okay, so we can see at the top here that there are 83 entrants. This is broken down into 8 pools, and my goal is to be in the top 32, right? But when I look at my pool, which is this one here, you need to make it out of pools, so 2 people make it out on the winner side and 2 on the loser side in order to make top 32. But when we look at my projected bracket, we can see here I am over here. Zoom in, there we go. Macca there, I'm projected to win, then lose to MC, then I'm projected to lose to Rollick. So go 1 and 2 and not make it out of pool. So I'll have to upset Rollick and upset Zambius if I want to make it into top 32. But in terms of people like Quetz and MC, these people are very good players. And Quetz is my coach. When I play him, he 3 or 4 stocks me, meaning he steamrolls me. Okay, so I basically have 0 chance of beating him. My best isn't good enough. And likely when I play MC, it's going to be the same thing. My best is not good enough. So there is a big chance that even if I'm playing my absolute best at this tournament, even though I've been practicing almost every day for the last 3 months, that my best won't be good enough to get me to my goal, which is top 32 at this tournament. So if we talk about this another way and we look at this line here, we've got noobs and we've got number 1. So this is a line representing the skill level of different players. Okay, so let's say a noob player, if this is their worst skill level, let's say they're having a really good day, their skill level might stretch up to here. Okay, this is their skill level at the game because they just don't understand the game all that well. All right, so their skill level can't reach up to number 1. So let's say this is the best when number 1's having the best days in flow, he's doing really well. And let's say number 1 is having a really bad day and his skill level drops. Okay, we can see that this is the range of skill level number 1 all the way up here on the right, and the range of the noob all the way here on the left. They're not even close to each other in terms of skill level. So even if number 1 is like drunk or half asleep or just having a really bad day, the chance of a noob beating a number 1 is almost impossible. So obviously there's possibilities that something can happen. There's always possibilities, but basically it's impossible. Okay. Oh no, I zoomed in. What happened? Ah! It's freaking out on me. Sorry, guys. All right. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So I've been climbing my way from noob, trying to get up into like a top 100 sort of situation. But maybe at the moment, I'm better than noobs. So there's a new guy now seeing called Dozium. When I play him, it's kind of like this. Like my worst, his best and my worst don't even match up. And so he's unlikely to beat me given extraneous circumstances. But the same's true when I play better players. And so let's put myself on here. I'll be green. I'll be somewhere down the bottom here. You know, on the lower end of the skill gap. Okay, so this is kind of my skill range. So if I'm doing really well versus if I'm not doing that well. And then Spud, who's the number 1 in Australia, we'll go ahead and we'll make him orange. You know, he might be somewhere around here. Okay? He's probably top 100, maybe top 200 in the world. He's the best in Australia. So this is kind of where I'm getting to. And then we've got my friend Thriles, who I just played today. Let's go ahead and we'll make him girly pink. We kind of have this situation going on right now with me and him. So the situation is that when I am playing my absolute best And when he's playing his worst, I win. But any other circumstance, if I'm not playing my best or if he's not playing his worst, then he wins. So he'll win 9 times out of 10 or even more. But every now and then we'll get this overlap where I will overtake him. And so that makes me think I have a chance. Really, I don't. So we have this situation where you have a skill level in a game and your best just isn't good enough. So it's very potential that this tournament that I'm going to here, that the top 4 players who get out, their skill level will exceed mine somewhere on here. So we've got Quetz, his skill level definitely exceeds mine. We've got a bunch of other different players. But let's say those 4 players, like they might be just a bit better than me. They might be the blue one here. You know, those 4 players might be kind of in this range. Quetz is probably a bit higher. Quetz is probably like up here somewhere. Okay, but there's the potential that to make it to top 32, my best just isn't going to be good enough, which is really frustrating when you set a goal for yourself and you go to a tournament and it's just really stacked. Like there's a lot of good players going to this tournament. It's going to be really hard to make it out of pools for me. So what can I do? The fact of the matter is I do not have a chance. I don't have a chance to beat people who, when they're playing their worst, are better than me. Like, there's no chance that I'm going to beat Spud over here. All right, if I was to play Spud, there is no chance that I'm going to win. So, you know, I can go to this tournament and I can try my best, which I absolutely will, and hope for an upset, hope for the overlap like I had with Thralls. But the chance of that happening is actually, you know, pretty small. And so all you can really do when your best is not good enough is to actually improve your best, to actually make your best better. So for me, what that means is practicing. What that means is doing deliberate practice, which we have talked about before, which is very important. If you haven't read the book by Anders Ericsson about how to do deliberate practice, go ahead and read it. But the goal is, for me, to move my best further up. So, you know, in the next 3 months, I might practice and my range might go like this. So my best is a lot better, but then my worst is only a little bit better. And then I'll work on, you know, moving my worstness up so I don't play as bad on one day, but my best isn't getting better. And then slowly you kind of like inch forward like this. You know, on a bad day, you're not playing as bad. On a good day, you're playing better. And so over time, you like inch your way forward. And so, you know, over the course of months, over the course of years, your best becomes better. And so let's say this one here is in 2 or 3 years' time. All right, you got to have the patience. Then my best is now good enough to compete in the top 100 in the world, to compete against the best in Australia and things like that. So it's like over time you get better. So I just want to encourage you that if your best is not good enough right now, just like with my tournament that's coming up, it really looks like my best is not going to be good enough to get me to my goal of top 32. If your best isn't good enough, still go out there and give your all, but you're going to have to practice and you're going to have to make your best better than it is now. You're going to have to expand your range so that when you play really well, you can make it further. And you're going to have to also reduce your C game or your poor level of play. And so when you're playing poorly, you can still beat the people below you. And so, yeah, I just was thinking about that today and being upset about this tournament and the fact that I probably won't make it into top 32. But rather than wallow in it, just using it as encouragement to keep going, using it as encouragement to keep practicing and to improve my best so that next year when I go to this tournament again, getting into top 32 is basically guaranteed. So like for Quetz, like for MC, getting into top 32 is basically guaranteed. If there's an upset and they go into losers, chances are they'll steamroll through losers, making it into top 32. So their range is not below this. Like they're going to make it out super easy. Like, yeah, they'll just do that because of their skill level. Their best is good enough to make it out. But they've been practicing longer than me. And so I guess they deserve that because their skill level is better. So yeah, so that's where you're at, where you just can't beat someone and you just can't get as far in tournament or in competitions as you would like. When your best isn't good enough, you have to make your best even better.